I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap and my name is XRP. To the moon. Yeah, I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, now bank the unbanked, yeah. Everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap and my name is XRP. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap and my name is XRP. Everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I'm faster,
A little bit too early.
I'm faster, I'm cheap and my name is XRP.
English.
To the moon. Yeah, I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked, bank the unbanked now. Bank the unbanked, now bank the unbanked, yeah. Everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP. Everybody by surprise, see it coming. Everybody gotta just wait and see. I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP.
Hello everyone, let's get started. I have no financial interests, I have no sponsored links, and I don't want no donations, please. I have just two small things to talk about, and then I'm all ears for your questions and stuff to talk about. One thing is, in my Telegram group there has been a discussion today how to explain basically what XRP is for, and that it's so complicated and stuff. Then I responded, well, actually I think it's so easy that most are looking too far away. Like, where are the problems in actually explaining it? And the easiest way to explain XRP is with fiat, dollar, euro, yen, Swiss francs, whatsoever. You buy products and services, And with XRP you buy dollar, euro, yen, peso, Swiss francs, and everything else. Hold on. I hope you look a bit tired. I am a bit tired. Reason for that is me and my wife, we have been working as hell in our garden. This picture here is from a path I made in the past few days. All together is about 60 to 70 meters long, and I had to kind of turn over the soil, and that was like a mighty work. And I also carried about 2 tons of soil from beneath our house to make more room for machinery we need, or we have. And that's all happened in the past few weeks, and that made me quite a bit tired. Anyway, so basically the one thing I talked about, how to explain XRP, I will repeat. With fiat, euro, peso, yen, dollar, Swiss francs, you buy products and services. And with XRP, you buy fiat, euro, dollar, yen, peso, Swiss francs, and all the others. And why that's important is because to buy products you need a universally, or at least in your country, accepted medium of exchange, which is your fiat, euro, dollar, peso, yen, or Swiss francs. However, if it comes to cross-border, to buy another currency, what are you using? Today you are using mostly the dollar, which results in those huge Nostro accounts all around the world. And by enabling XRP as the bridge between fiat currencies, those Nostros will not be required anymore. It's actually it's very simple. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing, also from my Telegram group, there was, I don't remember the exact context of the question or the comment from someone. However, it was about a possible high price of XRP. And I mean, because there is so many XRP, like 100 billion more or less. If it goes to 4 digits, there will be quite some super millionaires. But that's just on paper, don't forget that. You will not be able to cash out all that, and you will not do cash out all that. You will cash out whatever you need for your luxury life in the future. If you buy a yacht for 20 million, then you cash out 20 million. But you will not cash out, I don't know, 200 million, maybe if it's a big yacht, maybe. But even then, you may be doing that in steps of, I don't know, 10 or 20 million. It's the same thing about Jeff Bezos. I mean, he is only rich because he has so many Amazon stock. But that stock is basically useless because he cannot use it to buy a yacht. He has to sell the stock to get fiat to buy something. We count that as wealth, but basically we could say 98% of that wealth of Jeff Bezos is kind of useless because he cannot throw it all onto the market. If he would do that, the stock price would crash to very low levels, which would basically make his super rich wealth almost, I mean, it would still have a lot of value, but not a billion anymore. So basically XRP is not about making people rich or companies rich. That's one reason why I don't believe in the pre-allocation theory. I think at maximum it's about redistribution of wealth. And I mean, knowing Ripple and all their, I don't know, welfare donations they're doing, I'm pretty sure they don't want to make banks richer. They're trying to look that there is a certain kind of wealth redistribution. So that's it from my side. I don't see 8, I see X. Well, actually the 8 is kind of like a symbol from me and my wife. It's actually well, actually it's more the symbol for eternity, but it's very similar to an 8, a little bit a flattened out 8. And if I don't know if I can take my wedding ring off and show it to, I don't bring it off. I have swollen hands today from the work. But our wedding ring is like an 8, and then the guy folded it like that, so it has like this line in the middle. Now, when I have the 8 and I collapse it like that, it gives that line in the middle. And on one end you can see the basically the crossing. And it has some special meaning, and the fact that we have those two trees there, which kind of makes it obvious to make like an 8 around them, was more like an incident. But for sure we appreciate, but it was a kind of work. So AK85, no, Ripple won't burn 50%. It will not help anything in the price anyway. It didn't help Stellar, it wouldn't help XRP. I don't know about B2C2. Sorry, Konstantinos Monoios. More, it's interesting. Should I switch to German? Basically 90% of the hands up who is German, and hands up or hands down who is English speaking. Like thumb down if you're English speaking. Maybe I switch to German if like the majority is talking and is preferring German, then we switch to German. Keep English, German. English. German, English, English, English. Okay, then we leave it in English, because I basically announced it in English. Okay. So maybe those preferring German try to to write in English then as well, so that the English participants can profit from your questions and comments as well. Okay? While I'm waiting for something interesting to discuss about, I'm thinking of something more I could tell you. Well, actually, Pay ID. We didn't talk about Pay ID. Please don't misunderstand Pay ID because some people misunderstood it. They understood that Pay ID is kind of like an ILP on steroids. It isn't. Pay ID is just the address. It's really like an email address, but you don't send a message there, you actually send money there. That's it. How that money is sent there, that depends on the rails. Let's say 2 WhatsApp users. Let's imagine WhatsApp is offering Pay ID in the future for whatever reason. I think it even does in Brazil. Somewhere it does. Well, maybe not Pay ID, but you can, I think, pay other users with WhatsApp. Not knowing how it works, but I'm assuming that the WhatsApp user then has an account where he can kind of cash out. He can connect his account to a banking account and have the money he receives paid out to his bank account. From WhatsApp user to WhatsApp user, it's an internal reallocation of value between 2 accounts. It's the same thing what happens when you pay money to a member on the same bank. One account goes down and the other account goes up. That's a payment rail. It's a simple one because it's on the same system. Now let's assume you are still on WhatsApp and I have a Pay ID on CoinField. Then you could basically send me any crypto which is supported on CoinField. I don't know, I think they only have a few. I think Bitcoin, XRP, Solo, obviously, Ethereum and a few others. It's not too many. But basically you could, if your exchange, let's say I think Bitstamp is also a member, but they don't support it yet. But let's assume Bitstamp will support Pay ID in the future. Then you could basically, instead of using whatever wallet address, you're just using the Pay ID. And the same you could do from WhatsApp. You could send I don't know, euro from WhatsApp, because you have a euro account on WhatsApp, to my CoinField account. And because there they don't have euro, but they only have, maybe they do, I don't even know, but let's assume they only have US dollar. Then they would basically pending the fact that WhatsApp has a payment rail, whatever it be, could be RippleNet, could be ILP, could be Swift, could be anything. As long as both systems support that, it'll work, because those systems will figure out the way how to talk to each other. If the recipient, just an example, can only receive XRP and nothing else, and the sender can only send, I don't know, Swiss francs, then obviously it will not work, because there is nothing in there which helps convert. That really depends on the payment rails. But behind one payment ID, behind one Pay ID, you can have multiple accounts if you so want. like my account on CoinField, my PayID is the same for each and every currency. So whatever you send me there, dollar, XRP, Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the other currencies, it will be allocated to my account on CoinField, because they will know who I am and they will know what's coming in, and they will debit the appropriate amount to my account. But it's literally, it's really just the address with, and this is important and I just explained it, with the benefit that one address basically serves for multiple accounts. I don't know how, like ledgers at least. If, let's think about the fact that you may have a PayID in the future with your bank, then I really don't know how you can address different accounts in your bank. That might result in different PayIDs. In terms of crypto or fiat, it's clear, because when Bitcoin comes in, Bitcoin is debited. That's literally a no-brainer. Well, Chris S. The loans functionality will be, at least people like Mickey B. Fresh think that this will be an important leg of the stool to kind of make this new financial system working. I believe loans will greatly add in terms of liquidity, and I explained that in the past already a lot. Liquidity is, Miguel Villas basically explained it in that video I have shared many times, where he explains he is satisfied the moment when Nasdaq lists XRP in the same list as it lists euro, yen, dollar, Swiss francs, because that will mean that XRP is super liquid. And in markets where this is the case, there is literally, like, any amount of value, be it $5 or $500 million, you can get it, and that means liquidity. And in order to kind of like back that whole thing, it'll help a lot to have a similar, like, I don't know how it's called, financial infrastructure for XRP as is available for fiat, and loans and I don't know, bonds and all those financial products. They make a fiat liquid, and in the same way loans will help stabilize that liquidity somehow. No, I don't have a new job yet. AK85, the PayID is literally agnostic for, it works for micro payments as well as for huge payments. It's just an easier way to find the recipient. That's it. There is literally nothing about payment size or payment value or payment rail behind PayID. It's just the address. That's very important to understand. But the nice thing is, the more services which are interconnecting, whatever rail it'll be, Swift or ACH within US or whatever, RippleNet obviously, ILP, it'll make transacting value way easier, because you just need to enter an address. And the nice thing is, the address can be validated. I mean, if you enter an email address, might be that you receive a what's that message? Delivery failure or something. Recipient address not known or something. And with PayID, it's basically possible kind of to pre-negotiate if the address is valid and what rails are supported. And that's the nice thing. It's not just an address, it's also kind of it helps in the negotiation process to actually see, can I use my only payment rail I'm sitting on for the recipient to receive the money? And if not, then the payment you will not be able to transmit the payment. I'm still hopeful for 3 or 4 digits this year, not for 2 or 3. How bullish I'm overall? Freaking bullish. Really nothing has changed. Actually, I'm becoming more and more bullish. For me, the longer the price stays down, I believe the higher it has to go. And that's due to the fact of RippleNet. I mean, they had like in last November already 1 million transactions a day on RippleNet, and by now I'm pretty sure there's way over 1 million of transactions, and that's huge. Target 2 in Europe, and Europe is like 27% or 3, let's say 25% of the world, of the global payment market, if you so want. And within EU only. And this 23 or 25% of market share, that's done in about 340,000 payments a day. The figures from Swift are a bit not so transparent. They talk about payment messages, but I'm not sure what a payment message is. I think each hop, like from one bank to the next, is always counted as a new message. It's not like from start to end one message. That's what I believe. And if we divide that down, then we come to, I don't know, worldwide to between 3 and 5 million payments Swift is conducting every day. And when Ripple has already over 1 million, then that's huge. That's freaking huge. So I'm freaking bullish. Chicken or egg? I really cannot comment on David Schwartz. Nick Bougalis denied very severely that David is giving us any clues. But honestly, those tweets are really either he talks about water, liquidity, he talks about figures, or he talks about order, like with this cable chaos he put out once. There is no... maybe he's just a very, very curious... I think he is a very curious person. That last tweet about this trough for horses, about being, 900 years old or so. I cannot comment on that, really not. You have to do your own conclusion. Timmy Frocker, first of all, the utility scan tool, I have repeatedly told that don't trust that 100%. It's just an indicator what's going on. But we cannot be sure that really everything they track is ODL and that everything they don't track is not ODL. And so that's point number one. Point number two is someone mentioned that by MoneyGram, obviously going live with real life payments, not those treasury payments anymore, but actual, someone sends $100, $50, so that they actually do the transaction now live. And someone said that utilities cannot track those payments because there is too much noise, because there is so many of these, so they cannot correlate. So I don't think the volume has been going down. I think it's just not being tracked properly. $10,000 XRP is about a good amount to hodl the yodel. Ryan McBride, I have explained that over and over again, how I think, or how I know ODL is going to work. ODL works over the exchanges, and the more volume comes, and the less XRP is available on a particular exchange, the higher the price has to go. Otherwise, the transactions won't be able to be completed. Let's assume, I make a very stupid example. Let's assume on Bitso in Mexico there is only 100 XRP or 100 XRP available, and you need to send $100. Then it's about fine if the XRP is at the price of $1. But if you need to send 1,000 or 10,000 or 100 million, then it'll just not be a high enough price. I know that it's now very simplistic explanation and it's not 100% how it's done. I did a tweet recently. There was a guy talking about 27 trillion of Nostros and Then I think he divided the whole thing, I don't even remember if it was by 50 billion or by 100 billion XRP, and he arrived at the price of 700 and something. Then I wrote back, that's not how it's calculated. The price is calculated on how much volume will go through the system, how many market makers are there on each market, how many XRPs available in each market, and the turnaround of one and the same XRP per day. And the normal market maker for stocks is, I think I did this calculation or this research once with Manuel, and if I remember properly, a normal market maker makes roughly 150 trades a day. I'm assuming with XRP it might be 3-4 times as much. Maybe that's the problem, that they don't have enough market makers yet. Maybe they're helping with kind of automated market making for the low value pay. I really don't know, could be. But coming back to Ryan McBride, R3 or SPI or MoneyGram, that's literally not important. Important is the volume per corridor, per market maker, and the amount of XRP available in the particular market. That's really the only thing which is important. Thoughts on SPI? I'm pretty disappointed. I would have expected, after that law went live 1st of May, I thought, well, maybe in May, now it's July and we still have zero volume from SPI, and this is, I cannot understand it. I mean, they should be visible on those coin listing sites, even with just the 20,000 traders they had live since 2018 already, I think. Since 2 years. That volume alone should be enough volume to make it into those coin listing sites. Why they're not listed there, I literally have no clue. Erkan Mete is asking about something Ripple has received. I don't know about that. From a department in US regarding protection of consumers or something. I don't know about that. Maybe you sent me a link, Erkan. What I do know, and maybe, but also this is something I'm pretty sure exchanges should have addressed by now. The FATF guidelines, which came live, I think, like a year ago. Exactly a year ago. I think it was maybe even beginning of June 2019. There was this new guideline coming out from FATF that all the exchanges will need to have a proper KYC and AML procedure in order for the exchange not to be blacklisted. And usually when such a ruling comes live, the relevant enterprises most of the time have about a year time to conform with the new ruling, because they need to improve their processes or whatever. But that year is now over, and I'm pretty sure that for SBI that whatever this new ruling which came live early May this year, they knew what was going on, and they for sure had time to prepare. So I'm lost in space. I have no clue. I still only own XRP and Solo. And Solo literally just a few. In my opinion, it's, besides XRP, the only other use case I can think of having a sustainable value other than just being speculative value. But that's just me. I mean, I told it many times, all those smart contract platforms, smart contracts can go without a token you need to buy. Corda shows it. And all big enterprises are using Corda. They will never use something public. Forget about that. If you're imagine you're in a transaction $1 billion because you're, or $5 billion because you help building it's just an example, the Three Gorges Dam in China. That was a project, I don't know, finished maybe 4 years ago or so, 2015, 16, around-ish somewhere. And it was a project which took, I don't know, almost 10 years to complete. Imagine you deliver products in those 10 years for 5 billion, and you do that on a public distributed ledger, and then something goes haywire. Whom will you call for help? There will be no one who can help you. Not one bank or not one big institution will do that. They want something. I mean, where they have, I don't know how it's called in English, some protection. They will never ever use something publicly available. Same way as not any of the worldwide of the global countries will use XRP to issue a CBDC on XRPL. That will never ever happen. Ever. Never. Well, actually, Ralph Raymond, it's not 50%, it's just 50 XRP. It's about $10. That's about the same as you would get if I would refer you to Coinfield. So I think it's good marketing, but nothing else. Monica Long left. I didn't realize that. Ripple IPO will literally have no effect on XRP. I wouldn't know why. And Polysign, is definitely something. I see Polysign as a solution for banks letting banks customer hold crypto. I don't think they have developed a custodial solution for financial institutions themselves to hold that. For this, solutions exist already, but there doesn't exist solution for banks to offer like wallets for their customers, and that's basically I think where Polysign is going to, and that will basically support all cryptocurrencies, not just XRP. Thanks, Aurelius. It's Mr. Wallace. Well, that's a very hypothetical question. If by 2025 XRP still isn't over $5, then I don't know if I would still hold XRP by that time. But definitely it would be a failure. I would deem it a failure if it hasn't reached 3 digits by the middle of next year. I mean, freaking everyone, even worse now with Corona, everyone is like, I repeat, the current system costs the banks today 1.6 trillion a year. With ODL they can save at minimum 30% of that, in addition, like on top of X current from RippleNet. Do the math. That's like, let's say 500 billion. So 20% would be 100 billion. That's freaking much money which could be saved, which could help stimulate the current economies. I literally don't see, for me in that respect, Corona was a good thing to happen. It may have delayed everything a little bit because people were not working 100%, but in terms of stimulus for the economies, I think nothing better could have happened. I mean, Painter, I really don't know about price. I mean, since I learned about Jane Ellis, I'm really reluctant to sell on a new high, because it could always be the new high, which is the starting point for Jane Ellis. And if I'm then not in XRP, that's something I would regret. Rather than not making a few percent profits, I would really be pissed if Jane Ellis indeed would happen and I'd miss 100,000%. That's really what would piss me off. So I'm not too worried if it's then only 99,990% if I'm making that. So, I mean, if you believe in XRP, buy it now. Chicken or egg? Well, basically there is no competition to XRP. There is competition, well, I mean, there is only weak competition, let's call it like that. Basically, the only competition I know of is basically XLM, but they have zero infrastructure. They have no net, they have no ODL, they have nothing. I see XLM partially play a role in Africa with Moja Loop, maybe between those telephone companies, but that's about it. Evan Simonenko, yes, that's basically what you should do. Just forget about it and be happy when you come back. Ralph Raymond, tell me about it. However, everything Mickey B. Fresh is telling, I'm not buying it. I think he's gone astray there somehow. I don't know why SBI is moving so slowly. That's actually something which is quite irritating. But I'm sure once they release the beast, we will realize it. It's been a disappointment. It's 2 years now since they launched SBI Pro for like 20,000 users, and they just now delivered the app. So I cannot think of that it will take, I really don't know. So let's close the stream. One last question. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone for attending. We have been 70 people. That's not too bad for kind of a very spontaneous live stream. Don't get lost in FUD and in stupid information. Really believe in the project. There's literally, someone asked about competition. I don't know who it was, but I was talking, there is literally no competition in that area. There is competition on payment rails, but they are all still working with Nostros, and that's the big thing. XRP will remove the requirement for Nostros. And I just told it before, Nostros cost 1.6 trillion year by year. I did in one of my live streams in the past a breakdown of this. If RippleNet covers 20% of the global market, and I think that's not too far-fetched, that would basically mean that a company like UBS, which is like from the top 100 bank, exactly 100th in terms of assets under management. So I'm also assuming they're 100th in terms of volume for payments. So I'm also assuming that they will be able to save 100th of this 100 billion. That's a billion. That's like, they make like 4 billion profit every year, roughly. That's like 25% more profit. For sure they will not give everything to They will reduce cost for the customer, but they will also profit themselves. They will not give everything to the customer. Maybe, I don't know, 90%. So from this billion, maybe even if just 200 million are going into profit and the rest is being handed over to the customers, that's still huge. That's huge for a company like UBS. So don't you doubt, have belief. I mean, I told it, I think, in my Telegram group recently. After marrying my wife, XRP is the second thing in my life where I literally was like lightning struck, and I have zero, literally no doubt that it will bring us what we all think. Financial freedom forever. And now let's check if there is a last question. Well, at Swell they won't tell you anything. Swell is basically, the official part is just about remittances. And the private part we're not allowed to attend. How can you join my Telegram group? That's then my last question, and I will post the link. Hold on. In the meantime, I will show you some nice, my garden, where I made this nice little path. I always have to search invite group to a link, copy. So that's the join link for my Telegram group. But please, no news posting, literally just questions and discussions. News and all that crap you can have elsewhere. If you don't follow those rules, then I will kick you out. And so far I only had to kick out, I think, one person, and one or two or three others I had to warn 2 or 3 times. But if it happens again, they will be kicked as well. So, and with that, I literally wish you a nice weekend. Tomorrow I will be alone at home. I will do some easy stuff because the hard stuff is now done in our garden. Actually, one thing for those who have a garden, I think the solution, I don't know how it's called, this green stuff which is growing between your vegetables and stuff, there is a very simple solution how to get rid of it. Maybe I need to show that. Put 2-3 centimeters or with time thicker layer of leaves, of cut grass, of little pieces of wood on top, and the green stuff you don't want to grow will not grow in your garden. I'm doing that with this path. It's basically it's wood. I put there wood pieces, and I have put the last cut from my grass underneath some trees on the other side of the house, and it's working really nicely. It gives a nice touch if you walk barefoot on it. It's really nice, and the same process you can use in your vegetable garden. Just make sure that you leave a little hole so that the semen can grow into a plant there. But once the plant is growing, you can cover it with this. In German it's called Mulch. I don't know how it's called in English, but this is, next year we will do like that, because I'm actually sick of getting rid of all that green crap which I don't want in my garden. So, and with that, wish you nice weekend. Take care. Thanks for joining. Thanks for your trust. Don't lose your trust.